What still matters? The week of June 19, 2026. On Friday, the 12th of June, the United States government ordered Anthropic to cut off all access to its two newest models, Fable 5 and Mythos 5, for any foreign national, inside or outside the country, including Anthropic's own non-citizen employees. The directive came from Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick to Anthropic's chief executive, Dario Amodei, under the Export Administration Regulations, the same framework the government uses to control semiconductor and weapons technology. Anthropic received formal notice at 5:21 in the evening, Eastern Time, and within hours both models were offline for every user on Earth, because the company cannot verify nationality in real time. The government's stated reason was a jailbreak, a method of bypassing Fable 5's safeguards to reach the cybersecurity capabilities of the underlying Mythos model. Anthropic said it was given only verbal evidence of a narrow, non-universal jailbreak, that the vulnerabilities it reviewed were minor and already discoverable with other public models including OpenAI's GPT 5.5, and that no harmful result had been disclosed. It called the order a misunderstanding, and said that if withdrawing the model over a narrow jailbreak became the standard, it would halt every new deployment across the frontier model industry. Other Anthropic models, including Opus 4.8, were unaffected. The structural point is the precedent. Export controls on AI used to target chips. A January 2025 rule extended them to some model weights. This is the first time the United States has compelled a company to revoke access to a live, commercial AI model on the basis of nationality. Frontier models are now treated as dual-use technology, and a foreign national access order becomes, in practice, a global shutdown. It lands inside an existing fight. In February, Donald Trump ordered federal agencies to stop using Anthropic's models after the company refused Pentagon contract terms that would have allowed its models to be used for any lawful purpose. Anthropic had sought exemptions for autonomous weapons and mass domestic surveillance. In March, the Pentagon designated Anthropic a supply chain risk, a designation Anthropic is challenging in court. Anthropic filed a confidential S-1 earlier this month at a $965 billion valuation. The United States and Iran signed a memorandum of understanding to end the war that began on the 28th of February. Donald Trump signed it at a post-G7 dinner at the Palace of Versailles. A formal signing by both sides was set for Friday in Bergenstock, Switzerland, but Vice President J.D. Vance did not travel there, because Israel had launched new strikes on Lebanon. The 14-point agreement includes an end to the fighting, a $300 billion redevelopment package for Iran, and a commitment that Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. The nuclear program itself is still to be negotiated, and the text falls short of Trump's demand that Iran never buy, develop, or produce one. He says the Strait of Hormuz will reopen and be toll-free, but shipping has not returned. 3 Iranian tankers did pass the American naval blockade in the Gulf of Oman, and the blockade has been lifted. Pakistan mediated. Iran's supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, said Trump made the agreement out of desperation. The human cost is still being counted. Thousands were killed in the American and Israeli strikes on Iran, and researchers say the true total may never be known, because of the restrictions on media, internet, and government reporting. The deal did not settle the war next door. Israel kept striking Lebanon after the agreement was announced, and a ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah was only agreed on Friday. Lebanon says those strikes killed 47 people. Israel says Hezbollah fire killed 4 of its soldiers. More than 3,800 people have been killed in Lebanon since Hezbollah entered the war on the 2nd of March. Benjamin Netanyahu says Israeli forces will remain in the country for as long as necessary. On Thursday, Senator Bernie Sanders introduced the American AI Sovereign Wealth Fund Act. It would take a 50% stake in the largest AI companies in the United States, through a one-time tax on their stock, paid in shares. At current valuations, that stake is worth around $7 trillion. A 5% annual dividend from the fund would pay more than $1,000 to every American. The bill sets up an independent commission for democratic AI, 7 members nominated by the President and confirmed by the Senate, to hold the voting shares and block decisions that harm the public. It would also force companies that run both AI and non-AI businesses to split them apart. The bill's odds of passing are low. What matters more is the response from the White House. Vice President J.D. Vance said Donald Trump likes the idea of a controlling stake in every American AI company. The administration calls its version pre-distribution, giving people a seat at the bargaining table rather than handing out cash. Sanders and Trump disagree on the mechanism, but both sides are now treating the ownership of AI as a public matter. Hyundai is taking full control of Boston Dynamics. It is buying SoftBank's remaining 9.65% stake for $325 million, which makes the robotics company a wholly owned subsidiary. South Korea's Mail Business newspaper reports that Hyundai's board is expected to approve the purchase on the 22nd of June. Boston Dynamics' implied valuation has risen roughly 24-fold, to around $22 billion, and SoftBank exits the company. The point is industrial. Boston Dynamics is one of the few humanoid robotics firms with real factory work in sight, and it now sits inside a carmaker that can deploy it at scale. Ant Group is rebuilding Alipay around AI. Bloomberg reports the company is preparing a major overhaul of the payments app, which has more than 1 billion users, turning it from a wallet into an AI services platform. The backdrop is the regulatory reset that followed Ant's Block 2020 listing, which would have raised $34.5 billion at a $313 billion valuation. Ant was forced into a financial holding company structure and fined 7.12 billion yuan, about $985 million. The new direction is concrete. Ant's Dixia Bayo assistant orders meals, books tickets, and hails taxis inside Alipay. Its healthcare AI app, AQ, reached 100 million users. The company spent 23.45 billion yuan on research and development in 2024, up almost 11%, and has released its own Ling and Beiling models. The open question is whether Beijing will let a platform this large, now built around AI, grow powerful again. That's what still matters this week.